Urgent, nobody expected it, surprising news about Giannis Antetokounmpo at the Lakers. Stay until the end to find out everything. As the NBA enters another transformative phase, the Los Angeles Lakers find themselves at a critical crossroads. With LeBron James approaching the final year of his contract, the franchise is facing the looming challenge of preparing for a future without its iconic leader. The front office is keenly focused on building a roster capable of competing at the highest level even after LeBron's potential departure. Their strategy, bringing in another generational talent to lead the next era of purple and gold. After an aggressive move to acquire Luka Doncic, formerly of the Dallas Mavericks, the Lakers are now setting their sights on none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek superstar, currently under contract with the Milwaukee Bucks, is being closely monitored by several teams. But Los Angeles believes they have both the allure and the resources to make a compelling pitch. According to a report by ESPN insider Shams Charania, Antetokounmpo has grown increasingly frustrated with the Bucks' lackluster team performance. Despite his consistent individual brilliance, Milwaukee fell short in the postseason, suffering an early exit at the hands of the Indiana Pacers. That defeat, coupled with internal uncertainty, has sparked questions about whether Giannis might seek a new home, one that matches his ambitions. Spanish outlet Marca added fuel to the fire by suggesting that Los Angeles could be Giannis' most likely landing spot for the 2025-26 season. The rumors are intensifying, and although no deal has been confirmed, sources indicate that preliminary talks and strategic planning are well underway in LA. Even with LeBron James and Luka Doncic sharing the floor, the Lakers showed clear vulnerabilities, particularly on the defensive end. The inconsistency and lack of cohesion on that side of the ball have exposed the team in crucial moments. That's where Antetokounmpo could make a transformative difference. Known for his elite two-way play, he could provide the physical dominance and defensive discipline the Lakers sorely need. Behind closed doors, Giannis is rumored to have expressed his desire to join a franchise that can consistently compete for championships. He reportedly communicated to Milwaukee executives that his patience is running thin. The Lakers, recognizing a rare opportunity, are prepared to make bold moves. They are said to be willing to include two of their current starters, as well as valuable future draft picks, to secure Antetokounmpo's services. However, luring him away from Milwaukee won't be easy. At 30 years old, Giannis still has several productive years ahead, and he's currently under contract through 2028. That deal is valued at $186 million over the next 3 seasons, making any trade complex and expensive. Moreover, the final year of the agreement includes a player option, meaning Giannis can choose whether or not to fulfill that final season. That flexibility makes the situation even more unpredictable. Los Angeles isn't the only team vying for his signature. While the Lakers have the spotlight, other franchises are circling, sensing an opportunity to reshape the league's hierarchy. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the Lakers' trade assets, the potential players on the table, and how their offer stacks up against rival bids. In the shadowy corridors of NBA front offices, the art of negotiation is as strategic as the game itself. As the Los Angeles Lakers intensify their pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo, their executives are quietly assembling one of the most ambitious trade packages in recent memory. Acquiring a player of Giannis' caliber isn't just about desire, it's about leverage, timing, and assets. And the Lakers know they need to put everything on the table to outmaneuver their competition. Inside league circles, whispers are growing louder about what Los Angeles is prepared to offer. Sources close to the organization suggest that 2 of the Lakers' current starting players could be included in the proposed trade. While no names have been officially released, speculation points toward key contributors whose departure would create room for a superstar like Giannis while maintaining a functional core. But players alone won't get the deal done. The Lakers are also reportedly willing to part ways with multiple future first-round draft picks. These picks are highly valuable commodities in today's NBA, particularly to a team like Milwaukee, which may soon face a rebuild or retooling phase. The flexibility provided by future assets could be the bait that tips the scale in LA's favor. Of course, the Bucks are in no rush to let go of their franchise cornerstone. Milwaukee's front office is fully aware of the ripple effect such a trade would cause, not only for their own team but across the entire league. Losing Giannis would signal the end of an era. But retaining a disgruntled superstar could be equally damaging both in morale and on the court. There's also the contractual labyrinth to consider. Giannis is locked into a max contract worth over $180 million, with a player option looming in the final year. Any team willing to trade for him must be able to absorb that massive salary, which significantly narrows the field of realistic suitors. Fortunately for the Lakers, their financial structure is built to accommodate such a scenario, thanks in part to expiring deals and front-loaded contracts that open up cap space in critical windows. The Lakers' strategy is clear: build around Doncic while also ensuring a smooth transition into the post-LeBron era. Giannis, with his defensive versatility and relentless motor, fits perfectly into that blueprint. He brings leadership, experience, and a championship pedigree, all qualities that align with the franchise's storied legacy. In LA's vision of the future, Giannis isn't just a player, they see him as the next face of the franchise. However, the Lakers are not operating in a vacuum. Around the league, other teams are carefully monitoring the situation. Some are quietly preparing rival offers, while others are evaluating how a potential Lakers-Bucks trade could impact their own rosters and playoff hopes. The balance of power in the NBA has always been delicate, and a move of this magnitude would send shockwaves across the association. One significant variable is LeBron James. Although he's entering what could be his final season with the Lakers, his influence within the organization remains unmatched. Insiders believe that LeBron has been consulted about the pursuit of Giannis and is fully supportive of the plan. In fact, some speculate that he views Giannis as the ideal successor to carry the torch after he steps away from the game, or at least from the Lakers. As pressure builds, Los Angeles remains calm, calculated, and confident. They've made bold moves before, and history shows they're not afraid to swing big when the moment calls for it. With the groundwork for a mega deal being laid behind closed doors, the basketball world watches and waits. In the next chapter, we'll explore how the Milwaukee Bucks are responding behind the scenes, and why keeping Giannis may be more difficult than ever. While the Los Angeles Lakers orchestrate their pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo from the West Coast, the Milwaukee Bucks are navigating a storm of their own. Inside their front office, urgency and uncertainty have taken hold. Giannis has not officially requested a trade, but his growing dissatisfaction has been impossible to ignore. The early playoff exit against the Indiana Pacers was more than a disappointment, it was a wake-up call. Milwaukee's leadership knows the clock is ticking. When a player of Giannis' caliber begins to question the direction of the team, the entire organization feels the tremors. The Bucks had built their identity around him for nearly a decade, and while they reached the mountaintop with a championship in 2021, those glory days feel distant now. Since then, the roster has aged, chemistry has wavered, and questions about the team's long-term trajectory have intensified. Internally, there's a deep divide between sticking with the current core or initiating a controlled teardown. The problem is, the Bucks are not built for a rebuild, at least not yet. They owe future picks to other teams, have several expensive contracts on the books, and no clear succession plan if Giannis were to depart. Trading him would undoubtedly bring back valuable assets, but it would also signify a step away from contention and a possible plunge into mediocrity. Giannis' contract complicates matters even further. Though it runs through 2028, the presence of a player option in the final year gives him a degree of leverage. If the Bucks delay a decision, they risk losing him for nothing should he opt out and walk away as a free agent. That worst-case scenario is why Milwaukee has begun quietly exploring all options, even ones that were once considered unthinkable. Publicly, the organization maintains its commitment to building around Giannis. Head coach and front office executives have spoken glowingly about his leadership and importance to the franchise. But behind closed doors, conversations are far more pragmatic. League sources indicate that Milwaukee has fielded preliminary inquiries, not just from the Lakers but from multiple teams gauging the situation. So far, the Bucks haven't made any decisions, but they are listening. Giannis' discontent is rooted not only in on-court struggles, but in the team's broader vision. His desire is to compete at the highest level, season after season. He wants a roster that can complement his skill set, support him defensively, and deliver when it matters most. So far, Milwaukee's efforts to retool the squad haven't inspired confidence. Veteran signings haven't yielded consistent impact, and key players have battled injuries or decline. The communication between Giannis and the Bucks remains professional, but the tone has shifted. Insiders describe recent meetings as candid and serious. It's clear Giannis still respects the franchise and its fans, but he's no longer willing to wait indefinitely for change. If the Bucks can't present a convincing plan for short-term contention, they may find themselves forced into a scenario they hope to avoid. Meanwhile, media speculation grows. Every cryptic quote, every subtle body language cue, is analyzed endlessly on talk shows and social media. For Milwaukee, the pressure isn't just internal, it's national. The fan base is divided. Some urge the team to do whatever it takes to keep Giannis, while others believe it's time to accept reality and move forward. Through it all, Giannis remains focused. He continues his off-season training and keeps a low profile in the media. But those close to him say his mind is very much on his future. He's evaluating everything: roster strength, team vision, market opportunities. And the Lakers, with their history, global brand, and emerging young stars, are checking a lot of boxes. In the next chapter, we'll examine how the Lakers' current roster is being shaped around the possibility of Giannis, and which players might be on the move if the deal comes to life. Back in Los Angeles, the Lakers are methodically preparing for what could be a franchise-altering transaction. Their front office isn't just speculating, they're actively shaping the team's structure to accommodate the potential arrival of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And that means hard decisions must be made. Stars don't come cheap, and in the NBA, talent acquisition often demands sacrifice. The first question: who stays and who goes? The Lakers' roster is rich with complementary talent, but it's far from untouchable. If Giannis is to arrive in Los Angeles, it will likely cost the team 2 key starters. Speculation has centered on a few names, particularly players who have high trade value but aren't considered central to the Lakers' long-term vision. Young, high-upside wings and versatile role players are at the heart of most rumored trade packages. Jared Vanderbilt and Austin Reeves are among those repeatedly mentioned in league circles. Vanderbilt, known for his hustle and defensive versatility, fits the kind of profile that would appeal to a team like Milwaukee, which may be entering a transitional phase. Reeves, meanwhile, has grown into a reliable playmaker and shooter, earning the respect of both teammates and opponents. Including either of them in a deal would be a tough call, but one the Lakers appear willing to consider for the chance to bring Giannis aboard. Then there are the draft picks. Los Angeles still holds a number of future selections, some of which can be leveraged to sweeten the deal. In today's NBA, unprotected first-round picks are gold, especially for franchises considering long-term rebuilds. The Lakers are believed to be offering multiple future picks, with some insiders reporting that at least 2 unprotected selections and a pick swap have already been discussed in internal meetings. From a basketball standpoint, the fit between Doncic and Giannis is tantalizing. Doncic brings creativity, shot-making, and floor generalship, while Giannis adds physical dominance, elite defense, and transition firepower. Surround them with shooters and defenders, and suddenly the Lakers have the blueprint for a modern super team. It's a bold vision, but one that demands letting go of familiar faces and proven contributors. LeBron James, though nearing the twilight of his career, remains a key voice in the front office. According to sources close to the team, he's been briefed regularly on potential roster moves and has offered input on player fit and team chemistry. Though he's publicly non-committal about his post-2025 plans, those in the organization believe LeBron is supportive of building a contender around Doncic and Giannis, even if it means stepping back to allow a new duo to lead. The coaching staff, led by head coach Darvin Ham, is also preparing for every scenario. Bringing in Giannis would necessitate adjustments on both ends of the floor. Offensive schemes would need to optimize spacing, while defensive rotations would be centered around Giannis' ability to guard multiple positions and protect the rim. Fortunately, Ham is familiar with Giannis from his previous assistant coaching stint in Milwaukee, a connection that could prove valuable in acclimating the star to the Lakers system. But the Lakers are not simply focused on acquiring star power, they're also emphasizing balance. Front office executives have made it clear. If Giannis joins, the surrounding roster must still include reliable veterans, capable defenders, and efficient shooters. The goal isn't to repeat past mistakes of top-heavy rosters. It's to create a sustainable contender that can adapt and evolve. Of course, every move the Lakers make is being watched. Other teams are aware that if Giannis lands in LA, the competitive landscape in the Western Conference could shift overnight. Rivals like Denver, Phoenix, and Golden State are already recalibrating their off-season strategies in anticipation of what could be a seismic change. The Lakers' plan is bold. But boldness is part of their DNA, from Magic to Kobe to LeBron. Now perhaps Giannis. In Chapter 5, we'll turn our attention to the other teams in the Giannis sweepstakes, and how the San Antonio Spurs and Houston Rockets are positioning themselves as serious contenders. While the Los Angeles Lakers stand as a high-profile suitor in the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes, they are far from the only team making aggressive moves behind the scenes. Two franchises from the Lone Star State, the San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets, have quietly emerged as legitimate contenders, ready to challenge the Lakers in what could become one of the most heated bidding wars in recent NBA history. At first glance, neither team seems like the obvious destination for a two-time MVP in his prime. But look closer and the picture changes dramatically. Both the Spurs and Rockets have been quietly accumulating assets. Draft capital, promising young players, and cap flexibility, all the ingredients required to build a compelling trade package for a superstar. Let's start with San Antonio. The Spurs are coming off a rebuild phase, but that era may be nearing its end thanks to the arrival of generational big man Victor Wembanyama. The 7'4" phenom had a standout rookie season, showing flashes of two-way dominance and drawing comparisons to legends before his 21st birthday. Pairing Wembanyama with Antetokounmpo would create the most fearsome frontcourt in the league. A combination of length, agility, and defensive prowess unlike anything the NBA has seen. San Antonio's front office is known for being deliberate and methodical, but sources say they're preparing a robust trade offer. It would likely include multiple first-round picks, of which the Spurs own a treasure trove, and several young high-upside players from their development pipeline. Names like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, or Keldon Johnson have surfaced as potential trade components. More importantly, the Spurs have cap room and roster flexibility. They can take on Giannis' contract without gutting their entire team, and they have a head coach in Greg Popovich who commands deep respect from players around the league. That leadership, combined with Wembanyama's emergence and a proven developmental system, gives San Antonio a very real shot to convince Giannis they can contend for years to come. Then there's Houston, a franchise reborn. After years in the wilderness following the departure of James Harden, the Rockets are ahead of schedule in their rebuild. Last season, they stunned critics by finishing second in the Western Conference regular season standings, thanks to a blend of young talent and seasoned leadership under head coach Ime Udoka. Houston is loaded with tradable assets. They control a wide array of first-round picks, including future selections from the Brooklyn Nets via the Harden trade. They also have a young core that includes Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Sengun, and Amen Thompson, all highly coveted prospects around the league. Depending on how far they're willing to go, Houston could craft a trade package to rival or exceed the Lakers' best offer. What gives Houston an edge is their aggressive posture. League insiders suggest the Rockets' front office has made it clear. They are willing to do whatever it takes to land Giannis. That includes trading multiple picks and at least one of their top young players. Their recent move to acquire De'Aaron Fox at the 2025 trade deadline was a signal to the league. They're not just rebuilding, they're ready to win now. Like Los Angeles, both Texas teams are acutely aware of the contractual challenges involved. Giannis' salary and the length of his deal demand precision and risk tolerance. But both franchises are structured in a way that allows them to absorb those costs while still building around him in meaningful ways. Ultimately, it may come down to Giannis' own preferences. Does he value legacy and market size, which favors Los Angeles? Or is he drawn to a long-term project where he can grow alongside rising stars in a lower-pressure environment, like San Antonio or Houston? Each destination offers something different: stability, youth, potential, or spotlight. In Chapter 6, we'll examine how Giannis himself views these choices and what factors, on and off the court, might shape his decision in the coming months. In the midst of swirling rumors and escalating trade scenarios, Giannis Antetokounmpo finds himself at one of the most critical junctures of his career. At 30 years old, he remains in his athletic prime, still dominating both ends of the floor with his signature combination of brute strength, agility, and relentless work ethic. Yet the path forward is anything but clear. This is not just a basketball decision for Giannis. It's a life decision. And like any great competitor, he's weighing his next move carefully. Behind the scenes, sources close to Antetokounmpo describe a player who is laser-focused, but not oblivious. He's aware of the headlines, the speculation, the whispers. He doesn't comment on them publicly, but he's asking questions. Quietly, methodically, he's doing his own research on the franchises involved, on the rosters, the coaches, the cities, and even the ownership structures. One major factor in Giannis' thinking is legacy. He has already secured an NBA championship with Milwaukee in 2021, a title that cemented his place among the all-time greats. But a second ring, possibly with a different franchise, could elevate his standing to even higher levels. He doesn't just want to be remembered as the face of the Bucks. He wants to be remembered as one of the defining players of his era. That leads us to his basketball priorities. Giannis wants to win, now and consistently. He's not looking to enter a full rebuild or carry a lottery-bound team on his back. He wants a roster that's built for deep playoff runs, filled with players who match his competitiveness and intensity. That's part of why the recent struggles in Milwaukee have been so frustrating for him. In his view, the team has become too complacent, too stagnant. The fire that carried them to a championship has dimmed, and efforts to reignite it haven't worked. In this light, the Lakers make sense. The prestige of the franchise, the pairing with Luka Doncic, and the potential to succeed LeBron James as the next Laker icon, all of that appeals to Giannis. The idea of wearing purple and gold in front of a global audience, while competing for titles under the bright lights of LA, holds undeniable allure. But that comes with challenges too. Los Angeles is a high-pressure market, where every game is dissected and media scrutiny is relentless. Giannis is naturally humble and somewhat private. Would he thrive in the Hollywood spotlight, or would it become a distraction from his primary goal, winning? Then there's the Spurs, a team known for its quiet professionalism and developmental excellence. San Antonio offers stability, a nurturing environment, and the chance to form a dynasty alongside Victor Wembanyama. That possibility intrigues Giannis. He has always respected the Spurs culture, one of accountability, discipline, and selflessness. And under Greg Popovich, he knows he would be coached with both rigor and respect. Houston, on the other hand, offers excitement and ambition. The Rockets are young, fast, and hungry. Their front office has made bold moves to climb the standings, and their blend of athleticism and scoring potential is hard to ignore. Giannis wouldn't be stepping into a finished product. He'd be the cornerstone of a new era. The question is whether he wants that responsibility at this stage of his career, or if he prefers a more established foundation. Off the court, family remains a guiding force for Giannis. His brothers, especially Thanasis, have been by his side throughout his journey in the NBA. Any trade scenario would likely involve not just basketball logistics but personal considerations as well. Living arrangements, school choices for his children, proximity to extended family, and lifestyle adjustments. There's also the matter of endorsements and branding. While Giannis is already a global ambassador for several major brands, a move to a bigger market like Los Angeles or even Houston could expand his commercial profile further. But again, that's not the primary driver. Those who know him say his focus has always been on the court. Fame has come naturally, but never at the expense of his competitive fire. In interviews, Giannis has often spoken about loyalty, to his roots, to his teammates, to the franchise that gave him a chance. But in the same breath, he's made it clear, I want to win. If we're not going to win, what are we doing? Those words continue to echo as the NBA world watches and waits. In Chapter 7 we'll explore how a potential trade for Giannis could reshape the league, from playoff dynamics to power shifts in both conferences, and how other superstars may react. In a league defined by superstars and seismic movement, few trades have the power to reshape the entire NBA landscape. But the potential relocation of Giannis Antetokounmpo is exactly that kind of moment. A ripple that becomes a wave, sending shock through the standings, front offices, and locker rooms from coast to coast. Should Giannis land with the Lakers, Spurs, or Rockets, the implications will be immediate and dramatic. Let's begin with the Western Conference, which is already overloaded with elite teams and MVP-caliber talent. If Giannis joins the Lakers, the balance of power in the West may tip instantly. Pairing Giannis with Luka Doncic, and possibly a still contributing LeBron James, would form an offensive and defensive nucleus with the potential to overwhelm opponents. The Lakers would become championship favorites overnight, forcing teams like Denver, Phoenix, and Golden State to rethink their short and long-term strategies. Imagine trying to guard Giannis in transition, with Doncic orchestrating in the half-court. Defenses would be stretched thin. Meanwhile, rim protection, rebounding, and pace would all spike. The Lakers, a team that has often walked the line between drama and dynasty, would suddenly have a basketball machine capable of running over nearly anyone. That, in turn, would ignite a reaction. Teams on the fringe of contention, like the Clippers, Timberwolves, and Pelicans, might feel pressure to go all in, sacrificing youth or future picks for immediate reinforcements. GMs would ask, can we compete with that Lakers team? For many the answer would be no, unless they make drastic changes. If Giannis chooses the Spurs, the shift would be more subtle but no less significant. San Antonio wouldn't be crowned instant favorites, but the pairing of Antetokounmpo with Victor Wembanyama would redefine long-term projections. The two could potentially dominate the league for a decade, blending size, skill, and defensive versatility in ways we haven't seen before. The Spurs core, young, coachable, and improving, would develop under the watchful eye of Greg Popovich, and suddenly free agents who once overlooked San Antonio might reconsider. Superstars looking for structure and stability could see the Spurs as an attractive landing spot. In essence, the culture-first franchise would quietly become a super team incubator. The Western Conference in this case wouldn't see immediate fireworks, but the fear would grow. They're not just good, they're going to be great for a very long time. And if Houston lands him, the league might witness the fastest rebuild to contention arc in modern history. The Rockets, once written off as a long-term project, would be catapulted into the title race. With De'Aaron Fox, Alperen Sengun, and a host of explosive young scorers already on the roster, Giannis would give them both experience and an elite defensive anchor. This version of the Rockets would be physical, fast-paced, and fiery. Ime Udoka's coaching style fits well with Giannis' mindset, emphasizing intensity and two-way excellence. The Southwest Division would suddenly become the NBA's most competitive battleground, with the Mavericks, Spurs, Grizzlies, and Rockets all boasting star-laden rosters. The Eastern Conference fallout. Of course, all this movement leaves a gaping hole in the East. If the Bucks trade Giannis, they'd likely pivot toward a soft rebuild. Even with quality players like Chris Middleton and Damian Lillard on the roster, the loss of their franchise cornerstone would necessitate a new direction. Eastern contenders like Boston, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Miami would see a clearer path to the NBA Finals, especially if the Bucks don't receive a top-tier star in return. And what of other superstars? Players like Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Jimmy Butler, who've grown accustomed to battling Milwaukee deep in the playoffs, might now set their sights on seizing the crown. For teams that have been close but never quite there, this could be the opportunity they've been waiting for. A shift in player mentality. There's also a psychological impact to a Giannis trade. Superstars across the league would take note. The message would be loud and clear. Loyalty has limits and legacy is fluid. Players on unstable or underperforming teams may start eyeing the exits, reassessing how and where they want to spend their primes. This type of move could open the door to another era of player empowerment, where stars seek out ideal team fits rather than remain tethered to original franchises. The ripple effects may lead to more trades, more movement, and more front offices pressed to either win now or risk losing it all. In Chapter 8, the final installment, we'll dive into how this saga could ultimately play out, what's most likely to happen, what deals are realistic, and how Giannis' decision could mark the start of a new NBA chapter. As the off-season inches closer, all eyes remain locked on Giannis Antetokounmpo. The NBA world, front offices, analysts, fans, is holding its collective breath, waiting for a signal from one of the league's most dominant forces. His next move could define the rest of the decade. The speculation has been nonstop. The Lakers, with their championship pedigree and star-studded ambitions. The Spurs, built on culture and the promise of a generational partnership with Victor Wembanyama. The Rockets, youthful and aggressive, poised to pounce on their next opportunity. Each team offers a compelling pitch. Each has assets to offer. But what will it take to close the deal? The trade reality. Giannis is not a free agent, at least not yet. He's under contract with the Milwaukee Bucks until 2028, with a player option in the final year. That reality places the power in the Bucks' hands, but only for now. If Antetokounmpo formally requests a trade, or makes it clear he won't re-sign long-term, the calculus changes overnight. Franchises know that keeping a disgruntled superstar often leads to chaos. Milwaukee remembers the lessons taught by other teams who held on too long. And according to league insiders, the Bucks front office has already begun listening to preliminary trade concepts, though no official offers have been confirmed. The Lakers have the star power and media pull. Their reported package could include Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, multiple first-round picks, and possibly a sign-and-trade scenario involving a departing LeBron James. The idea of Luka Doncic and Giannis sharing the floor is tantalizing, and Los Angeles would become the epicenter of basketball once again. San Antonio, meanwhile, can offer the deepest rebuild-proof package, high draft picks, multiple role players, and cap space flexibility. Their pitch to Milwaukee? A painless exit strategy. A chance to rebuild without going to rock bottom. Plus, they have the structure to allow Giannis to focus purely on basketball. No distractions, no drama. Houston is seen as the wild card, but not a long shot. With all the draft capital they hold from the James Harden trade and a young core loaded with upside, the Rockets could present the most aggressive offer. If they include Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and picks, it could be the type of deal Milwaukee finds impossible to refuse. What does Giannis want? Sources close to Giannis suggest he's focused on two things: competing for championships and playing with intensity every night. He wants a team that matches his will to win. Not just with words but with actions. He's reportedly intrigued by the Lakers' offer, but also cautious. He respects Doncic's game immensely, but has questions about the team's depth and long-term defensive structure. The Lakers would need to empty their roster to make the trade work, possibly leaving Giannis with a top-heavy squad and limited bench support. San Antonio's quiet professionalism appeals to him, as does the idea of building something new alongside Wembanyama. Popovich's presence is also a factor. Giannis respects him deeply. Yet, San Antonio's market size and current playoff prospects could be a downside. Houston is said to be the most aggressive in private negotiations. Giannis sees the potential but also understands that the Rockets' culture is still forming. Would he be stepping into a stable structure, or would he need to be the stabilizing force? The clock ticks. A decision is likely to come before the NBA draft. The Bucks would prefer to move fast, allowing themselves to reshape the team using incoming assets. For Giannis, that timeline aligns with his desire to start the next chapter of his career without distractions. No matter where he lands, the impact will be immediate and lasting. A Lakers trade might kickstart a short-term dynasty. A Spurs move could mark the birth of a historic duo. A Rockets deal could ignite a new powerhouse in the West. But beyond the logistics and contracts lies a larger story. Giannis Antetokounmpo is not just switching teams, he's shaping the future of the NBA. His decision will be studied, debated, and remembered. It may inspire other stars to follow his path, or resist it. It will affect how franchises build, how agents negotiate, and how fans view loyalty versus legacy. For now, the league waits. The fans speculate. The executives negotiate in hushed tones behind closed doors. And Giannis? He watches. He thinks. He prepares. Because once the choice is made, there's no turning back.